Happy holidays, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Flavor and Fiction. So for those who have never seen this segment before, what I do is I choose a book from my 2022, soon to be 2023, reading challenge. I read the book, I give you a review, and then I make a recipe using an ingredient mentioned in the book. So you get your flavor and your fiction. Today's category is a genre hybrid, and I chose The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I'll put a picture here. It's a hybrid between a fantasy and historical fiction. And this book has been wildly popular on Book Talk and BookTube, and I decided to give it a whirl. And the ingredient mentioned in the book is squash. So I decided to make my mom squash casserole. And by me, my sister mainly does it. I kind of talk her into helping me. So we're going to do that at the end of the video, and I'm going to do a little taste test for you guys, but I've already had it before and I can tell you it's delicious. So first, let's get into the book. It starts out in 1714 in France, a small town in France, and Addie LaRue is like 22, 23 years old, and she still has like a very young, carefree spirit. And her father doesn't mind, but her mother's like, okay, no, she's a woman now, and it's time for us to marry her off before it's too late. And Addie has no interest in marriage. She also has a neighbor, an older neighbor, who warns her. She teaches her how to pray to like the old gods, but she warns her never call on them after night falls. So Addie, after she finds out that her parents have betrothed her to someone, she is just miserable. And now it's her wedding day, and she panics and she runs down to the river, and she's she's praying to the gods to help her. But as she's praying, night falls, and it's the devil who answers. So in order to get something to the devil, you have to give something. So what she wants is a life where she wants to be able to live as long as she wants to without people forcing anything on her. She just wants to be free. And in return, she agreed to give him her soul when she's done with it. So she can choose to live however long she wants to, but once she says it's over, she has to give up her soul to him. But she didn't really read the fine print of this deal, because what she doesn't know is that people will not be able to remember her. Like when she leaves a room and walks back in, no one will remember her at all, which can be a gift and a curse. So she spends her time, throughout the years, the centuries, like she's been through a lot of things, including like the Holocaust, and she's been through certain things where the devil has come to like rescue her, because like he kind of falls in love with her. It's this weird thing. But throughout the years, he comes to her rescue because he wants to be the one to take her soul. Like he doesn't want any harm to come to her. And he asks her every once in a while, like, are you ready to give up your soul? And she always says no. So now it's been a couple hundred years, and she spent her time sneaking around and stealing and being afraid half the time. And, she normally doesn't face any consequences because no one remembers her. She can steal and get caught and then just walk out of the room and it's forgotten. So one day she goes to a bookstore, she steals a book, she gets caught, she apologizes, the owner lets her keep the book, she leaves. She comes back the next day and the guy remembers her and her mind is blown. And his name is Henry. She develops a relationship with Henry, and she kind of reveals her secret and he reveals his own. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's a big spoiler in the book. So I'm not going to do that. I want you to read it. So the question becomes, does she end up giving her soul to the devil? Does she choose to live forever? What role does Henry play in all this? And I got to tell you, this is one where, it jumps back and forth through time. And I don't always love that when it goes back and forth. But it really fit this story. And it really came to like, the ending came to like a nice conclusion that kind of leaves you wondering, but also provides answers. So it's worth it. It's not going to leave you like mad and crazy at the end. I really enjoyed it. So now that we have the fiction covered, let's get to the flavor. So we have squash casserole coming up. I'm going to show you a little video of how I made it and then give you a little taste test. So the first thing you need is 5 cups of squash. So wash your squash, cut it up, put it in a big bowl, use about half an onion, slice it really thin, and then mix it in with your squash. Then you're going to heat it up in a pan with some butter, and you want to saute it for about 20 minutes. It's up to you as to how soft you want your squash and how thinly you cut it. But it should look like this by the time it's done. And then you strain it. Then you put it in a bowl with some butter and you crack in an egg. You're going to put in about half your cheese. And then you want to crush up a whole sleeve of crackers, like saltine crackers. I use the kind with unsalted tops. Crush it up, put it in there a little bit. Put it in a pan that's been sprayed with some Pam. And it should look something like this when it's done. And then cover it with the rest of the cheese. Put it in the oven for 400 degrees until it looks just like this. And then you have perfection. Okay, guys, I'm going to try a little bit just for you before I stuff my face. It's so good, Michelle. My sister helped make it. Here she is. No, I'm just kidding. She's not dressed for the camera, so she got scared. Lord. But it is delicious. So as you can see, it was really good, which is why I only took one bite on camera, because I wanted to get off the camera and finish stuffing my face. I will post the recipe for it as well as a link to the book down in the description box. I'm hoping to post another video before New Year's Eve, but I make no promises. So if I don't talk to you before then, happy holidays, happy New Year, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Flavor and Fiction.